Born in Minnesota but lives in Cambridge, so we are claiming tennis pro Eric Butorac as one of our own. For the past 3 years, he's been the third-ranked American in doubles with his partner Raven Klaasen, seen here in black playing against the world's top-ranked Bryan brothers, who they beat earlier this season at the Australian Open. Now Eric Butorac is hoping to repeat that success later this month at the French Open, and Eric Butorac is here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So twice, actually, you beat the Bryan brothers. Just recently, you actually won the tournament.
Yeah, it was a big deal to beat them in the Australian Open. It's probably their most successful Grand Slam. We actually realized that after we did it. But then I think to do it again a month later in the finals of a tournament in Memphis really solidified us as one of the better teams in the world. And it was really almost more satisfying the second time.
And of course, they're popular giants around the world. So how does it feel to sort of topple people that people are always rooting for?
Yeah, I mean, they're great ambassadors for our sport. They've come to my charity event multiple times. They're the Roger Federer of doubles, we say. So they do a wonderful job. That being said, it's sort of been the biggest achievement of my life, probably, to be able to beat them a couple times.
Well, we're rooting for you. So people who don't play tennis, talk a little bit about the difference between a singles match, because that's what we see on television mostly, versus doubles, and how you decided to be a doubles player.
Well, I think everyone starts out playing singles. I mean, after I finished college, I spent 3 years playing both singles and doubles before I realized that I probably wasn't going to make it to the top of the game in the singles tour, but there was an opportunity for me in doubles. We like to call it checkers and chess. Singles is very pattern-oriented. You'll see a lot of people having long baseline rallies. Doubles becomes very strategic. It's a lot about formations. It's about figuring out what your strengths are, what your opponent's weaknesses are. We watch a ton of videotape of ourselves, of all of our opponents, kind of have real detailed scouting report. So in that respect, it's a little bit of a different game, and we really enjoy it.
When you signal each other for serves and that kind of thing, does it always work?
Not always, but sometimes we would like to have a real structure. And the best thing you can do in doubles is you structure out the first 3 shots, the serve, the return, and then the next shot afterwards. Obviously, once the first ball is hit, the point takes on its own shape. But we think that it gives us the best advantage when we kind of build a formatted structure for those first 3 shots. What
is your favorite surface? I know obviously Roland Garros is the beautiful red clay, and you were practicing on clay today. What's your favorite surface? I
grew up in Minnesota. I play a lot in Boston, so the indoor hard court is definitely my most comfortable surface. That being said, I've learned to enjoy them all. Clay, when I first started out, it was just an absolute disaster for me. Minnesota, I hardly played any clay growing up. We have some clay here in Boston, but not a whole lot. I was a mess over in Barcelona and Monte Carlo and all these tournaments, just taking a lot of early losses. Since then, I've been able to win like 5 ATP events on the clay courts. So I think going into Roland Garros, we feel like we have a good opportunity to go deep in the tournament.
The clay over there is even different than it is here. It's that rich, thick, the red.
Yeah, it's like a finer grain. It's a little bit hard. It's almost like as if our clay is like bigger pebbles. Yeah. Their clay is like a fine dust, which can be very slippery on a hot day, but then add a little moisture to it and it becomes almost like a mud-like substance. So it changes a lot with the conditions, but it makes for a really interesting game.
How many rounds are there how many are in the men's doubles?
There's 64 teams in the men's doubles.
Wow. So, and I noticed on the schedule, you don't play until a couple days in.
Yes. That's exactly right.
And you're also going to be playing this summer for the Boston Lobsters, right?
Yeah, the Lobsters has been a real highlight for my career. I came on 5 years ago to the Boston team, and Bahar Udom, the owner, was nice enough to draft me, knowing that I was a local guy. And it's become a real highlight of my calendar. A chance to be at home here in Boston. We play all our matches on the North Shore at the Manchester Athletic Club. And to be able to play in front of all my friends and family, and the World Team Tennis atmosphere, it's so great, especially for kids to come and watch. You can see men, women, singles, doubles. We have mascots and music playing, and it's kids can be loud and they can cheer, and then afterwards they can all come on the court and meet all the players and get autographs. So it's really a fun way to expose kind of the next generation to the game of tennis.
No ads, so the games go very quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, have you ever tried out for the Olympics? Did you consider that last time around?
I would love to play in the Olympics. Unfortunately, each country only gets a limited number of bids. The Americans, well, in the years past at least, have always had so many players that it's been very difficult to get a spot. Maybe the next time it comes around, we have a few less players now, kind of at the top of the game. So maybe it'll be a possibility.
Same thing with Davis Cup. They recruit you for
Davis
that?
Cup is the same. They have one doubles team, and we've been fortunate to have the Bryan brothers, be the number one team in the world for the last decade. It's not as so fortunate for me being the third-ranked player, but that they're like I said, they're great for our sport. They've done so well in the Davis Cup. They won the Olympic gold medal. They're great guys.
So do you have more longevity with doubles, do you think? Or is
I think so. You see a lot of players these days playing well into their 30s, and not even necessarily stopping for a physical reason. It's more like they start to have a family and maybe move on with their life. But you can definitely go longer in doubles than you can in singles.
Yeah, Stan Smith and Bob Lutz, they were the big team forever.
Yeah.
They were together.
Exactly.
All right. Good luck, Eric Butorac, at Roland Garros.
Thank you very much.